He just stood there, right on my goddamn porch. A full-grown grizzly, ribs showing through matted fur, breath like a furnace. I swear to God, I thought it was some hallucination. But no, he was real, and he was looking straight at me. I didn't move, didn't even breathe. Just stood behind the half-open screen door in my boxers, holding a steaming mug of instant coffee. My dog, Boone, was frozen beside me, no bark, no growl, just wide, wet eyes. The bear didn't roar, didn't charge. He just sagged down like someone unplugged him, dropped on his ass, then lay on his side with this awful wheezing sound. I could see the dirt and dried blood caked on his paws. One ear looked half-torn. He was wrecked. My heart was pounding so hard, I thought I might drop dead before he even moved again. I backed inside slowly, not slamming the door. Grabbed the rifle from behind the fridge. Yeah, I keep it there. Don't judge. I walked back, hands shaking, barrel pointed at the door. Through the screen I could still see him, chest rising slow, barely moving. I don't know how long I stood there like that. 10 minutes? A half hour? Long enough for the coffee to go cold and for my fingers to cramp around the grip. Finally, I lowered the gun. Not out of mercy. I just didn't know what the hell to do. That morning was supposed to be like any other. Wake up, feed the dog, check the barn, curse the damn frost. But instead, a walking tank of muscle and teeth decided to take a nap on my welcome mat. Let me back up for a second. My name's Ray, 54, widow. Used to be a construction guy before I gave that up for quiet. Bought this patch of land 2 years ago after losing my wife and daughter in a car wreck. Needed something to keep my hands busy. Project. Something to numb the noise in my head. I grow vegetables, keep chickens, fix old tractors that no one cares about. I don't talk to people much. Don't really have visitors. That bear was the first soul to show up at my door in months. Boone started whining. I looked down and he was pacing now, sniffing near the crack under the door. I opened it just a bit more. The bear hadn't moved, but his eye, one eye was cracked open, watching us. I stepped out slowly, rifle in one hand, the other holding Boone's collar. The bear didn't flinch, didn't even blink, just that eye following me. I stood over him. He smelled like old garbage and rot. I thought maybe he's dying. Maybe he came here to die, or maybe he's starving. I looked around. Not a soul for miles. No cell service. No neighbors till you hit the county road, and that's a good 6 miles off. So it's just me, a dog, and a dying bear. The thought hit me like a punch. If he wanted to kill us, he already would've. But he didn't. He just laid there, broken. I exhaled through my nose, crouched down, and said it out loud. What the fuck do I do with you? And he blinked, like he understood. I didn't sleep that night. A week before that morning, I found tracks by the old chicken shed. Big ones. I thought it was a prank. Some dumbass with fake paws trying to scare me. Or maybe a black bear passing through. Grizzlies didn't come down this low. At least they weren't supposed to. But the prints were fresh, clawed deep into the mud. Boone barked at them for a good 5 minutes. I shrugged it off. Just another thing to ignore. Like the leak in the barn roof. Like the stack of unpaid bills. That night, though, something banged hard outside. Woke me up cold. I grabbed the flashlight and stepped onto the porch with my boots unlaced and shotgun in hand. Boone followed close, tail stiff. My garbage can was tipped over. Lid cracked in two. Trash everywhere. Something big had done this. And there they were again, those same damn tracks, leading out toward the woods. I didn't sleep much that night either. Next day, I drove into town for feed and beer. At the co-op, guys were talking about bears. A rancher up north lost 3 goats. Another found a sow with cubs in his apple orchard. People were spooked. You could feel it in their voices, low, tight. Old Dale, who runs the gas station, said straight up, "You see one near your land, you shoot. Ain't worth the risk." I nodded like I agreed, but something felt off. I couldn't explain it then. Back at the farm, I set up some motion lights, left the shotgun closer to the door. That was 4 days before the porch incident. Now, present day, I'm standing in my living room with that same shotgun in both hands. It's heavier than I remembered. Outside, the bear hasn't moved much. Maybe shifted his weight once. Still breathing. Still alive. Boone sits by the door, ears flat, whimpering like he's torn between instincts. Hell, so am I. I walk over to the window, keeping low. Watching. His eyes are closed now. He's twitching like he's dreaming. Or seizing. My fingers tighten on the trigger. I think about what Dale said. You see one, you shoot. But this ain't just seeing. This is something else. Something wrong. 30 seconds. That's all it would take. One step outside. One shell. I could put him down clean. Be done with it. No more risk. No more wondering what he's gonna do next. But I don't move. I stand there, gun in hand, thinking about my daughter's last words before the crash. Don't go fast, Daddy. We never saw that truck coming. She was 7. Now I'm here, alone, holding a weapon, pointed at something that's barely holding on. I lower the shotgun. Boone exhales, like he's been holding his breath, too. I put the gun on the counter, pour a shot of bourbon. It's not even noon. Outside, the bear lets out a low, cracked groan. It sounds human. I sit at the table, staring at nothing. Then get up and rummage the fridge. Leftover stew, dry bread, half a bag of dog kibble. I grab it all. I open the door and step out slowly. The bear lifts his head. Just an inch. I toss the bread. He doesn't move. Then I roll the stew container toward him. It lands near his paw. He sniffs, then slowly pulls it toward his mouth and eats, very slowly. I stand there, hands shaking. What the hell am I doing? By dusk, the stew was gone. He licked the container clean, slow and clumsy, like a drunk man after a long night. Then he laid his head back down on the boards of my porch and didn't move again. Boone and I sat inside, lights off, just watching through the window. I didn't want to spook him, didn't want to piss him off either. I figured maybe once he got a little food in him, he'd shuffle off into the woods, maybe disappear like a ghost. But he didn't. He stayed there all night, didn't growl, didn't scratch, barely moved. I slept in the chair by the window with the rifle across my lap. Every time I opened my eyes, he was still there, like a shadow nailed to my doorstep. By morning, I stepped out with Boone, careful, slow. The sun was rising behind the ridge, warm and gold, and the bear looked smaller. Not physically, but something in the way he moved or didn't. He tried to stand, got about halfway up before his front legs shook and gave out. He collapsed back down with a grunt. I flinched. Boone barked once, but I hushed him. Then I did something stupid. I spoke to him. You're not doing great, are you, big guy? He blinked. That's it. Just one lazy blink. Then his eyes closed again. Boone crept closer. I grabbed his collar, but the bear didn't react. It was like he didn't care anymore. I watched his ribs rise and fall, too sharp under the fur. You don't expect to feel pity for something that could rip your head off, but I did. Against every instinct, I did. Back inside, I microwaved some leftover rice and hamburger. No seasoning, just warm food. I set the bowl a few feet from the porch. He didn't move at first. 10 minutes later, he dragged himself forward. Not walked, dragged. Like each step cost him more than he had. He ate again. Slow, careful. But something different this time. He looked at me longer. I sat on the steps, rifle beside me, Boone leaning against my leg. And we just watched each other. Me and a half-dead monster. I started noticing things. One of his front paws was swollen. Looked like it had been caught in something, maybe a trap. Deep wound, red and nasty. That ear I saw before, torn right through. He'd been through hell. And yet, he came here. He chose my place. Why? That question looped in my head all day. By nightfall, he was still there. Hadn't gone anywhere. Just laid close to the steps, his body twitching every now and then. He wasn't just a bear. He was a ghost. A weight. A shadow that refused to fade. I checked the rifle again. Made sure it was loaded. I don't know why. Habit, maybe. But I didn't want to use it. The next morning, I stepped outside with a piece of chicken and Boone right behind me. The bear lifted his head slightly. Eyes locked on mine. I didn't feel fear. I felt something worse. Responsibility. I tossed him the leftovers like I was throwing scraps to death itself. A slab of cold meatloaf, half a biscuit, and the last scoop of mashed potatoes from the tin. It wasn't generosity. It was more like guilt mixed with frustration. Like feeding the thing that haunted you, just to shut it up. He didn't rush to eat. No wild animal tearing or snarling. Just this slow, labored chew. Like food was effort. Boone watched from behind my leg. Tail down. Eyes locked. The bear finished every crumb. Then laid his head back down with a grunt. Same spot. Like nothing had changed. And maybe nothing had. I muttered, "You gonna just rot on my porch, huh?" No answer. Just the soft wind through the trees and the faint creak of wood under his weight. By nightfall, I figured he'd be gone. That he'd crawl back into the forest to die or disappear. But morning came and so did I, with more scraps. This time, he lifted his head when I stepped out. Watched me, eyes following every move. Felt like awareness. Like he was studying me now. I set the food a little closer. He dragged himself forward. Slower than before, but with purpose. Boone whined low. I kept a hand near the rifle but didn't touch it. The bear stopped a few feet away. Ate, then sat upright. Just a bit. More than yesterday. His breath steamed in the cool morning air. His fur was matted and dirty, but under all that, there was still power. Something ancient. I asked him, half joking, half mad, "You planning to live here now? You paying rent?" He didn't move, but he didn't leave. That night, I dreamt of crashing metal and the scream of tires. I woke up sweating. Bourbon bottle tipped over on the floor. Outside, the bear was still there. A part of me wanted to call someone. Wildlife service, ranger, anybody. But I didn't. Couldn't. I told myself I'd give it one more day. Next morning, I brought real food. Not scraps. Cooked up some eggs and old bacon. Plated it. Even warmed a tortilla. When I stepped out, he was already watching. This time, he didn't wait. He moved forward as I set the plate down. Like he knew it was his. Still no aggression. No growl. Just hunger. After eating, he didn't lie back down. He sat there, looking straight at me, and I looked back. We stayed like that for a while. Man and bear. Two things that probably shouldn't be sharing space. But we were. I said, "If you're gonna die here, fine. But if you're not, then you better start acting like it." He blinked, then laid back down. But slower, more controlled. Boone crept a little closer that evening. Not too close, but he didn't growl. The bear's eyes followed him, then returned to mine. And in that silence, something settled. Not peace, not trust, but something, like we'd made an unspoken deal. Tomorrow, I thought, tomorrow I'll figure out what the hell this all means. Tonight, I just fed the enemy, and he didn't bite. Day 5, he's still here. I walk out with a bowl of oatmeal and bacon. He watches me from under half-lidded eyes. Doesn't move till I set it down. Boone trots ahead, sniffing around like it's normal now. Like having a 200-pound predator on our porch is just another Tuesday. I light a cigarette. First one in months. The bear eats slow. Careful. I lean against the railing and say it out loud. Finally. Like it's been boiling in my gut. "What the hell do you want from me, huh?" He pauses mid-chew. Looks up. Eyes meet mine. And in that moment, I swear to God, something shifts. Not in him. In me. I see flashes. Twisted metal. Shattered glass. My wife's hand limp on the dashboard. My daughter's teddy bear soaked in blood. It all hits me at once. 5 years of silence come rushing in like a goddamn freight train. I sink onto the step, cigarette trembling in my fingers. The bear lowers his head. Not to sleep, just to watch. For the first time, I don't see a beast. I see a presence. Something carved out of the same pain I carry. He didn't come here to hurt me. He came here because we're the same. Two broken things looking for somewhere to stop bleeding. Later that day, I hear an engine. Not mine. I look out the window and see Dale's old Chevy kicking up dust on my road. Damn. Boone barks. I hush him and step outside as Dale pulls up. He hops out, all denim and suspicion. "Ray," he says, not smiling. "Dale." He jerks his thumb toward the bear. "You know there's a damn grizzly on your porch, right?" "I noticed." "You feeding it?" Pause. "Maybe." He squints at me. "Jesus Christ, man. You lost your mind? That thing could kill you. Kill your dog. What if it wanders into town?" "It won't. You can't know that." "I do." He stares at me, then back at the bear. The bear stares right back. "I'm calling it in," Dale says. "They'll send a ranger. Maybe relocate it. Maybe not." He drives off before I can stop him. 2 hours later, I hear tires again. Big ones. A black SUV rolls up. Park Ranger logo on the door. Guy steps out. Young, serious. Sunglasses and authority. "Mr. Harlan?" "Yeah." He nods toward the bear. "We got a report. I need to assess the situation." He hasn't moved in hours. He's still a wild animal. So am I. He doesn't laugh. He walks over slow, hand on his belt. The bear lifts his head, sniffs the air, then lays back down. Looks malnourished. Might be injured. That paw's bad. Could be infection. I nod. He says, "We can tranquilize and move him. If he's not aggressive, we got options. But if he becomes a threat, I finish for him. You'll shoot." He nods once. I stare at the bear. He stares at me. The ranger says, "You want him gone?" I don't answer, because I don't know.
If you love stories about wildlife rescue, click the subscribe button below. Here's how the button looks on different devices. Every subscription helps spread these stories and raise awareness. The more people know, the more animals get the help they need. And remember, subscribing is completely free. Click subscribe now and join us in protecting wildlife.
The ranger came back the next morning with a tranquilizer rifle and a vet tech in tow. They didn't waste time. "We need to sedate him," the ranger said. "Assess the wounds. Get him off your property." I stood on the porch with Boone pressed against my leg. "You sure that's necessary?" I asked. "He's a wild grizzly. He doesn't belong here. And yet, here he is." He sighed, already annoyed. "I get it. You bonded. But this isn't a dog. If he lashes out, someone's gonna get hurt. Maybe you. Maybe a kid 10 miles down the road." "He hasn't hurt anyone. He barely moves. He came here to survive, not to kill." The vet tech, a quiet woman with tired eyes, cut in. "He's severely underweight. Dehydrated. That paw needs treatment. Then treat him. Right here. No guns. No trucks. Just patch him up." The ranger shook his head. "That's not how this works." I felt it bubbling in my gut. Rage. Helplessness. "Of course it's not," I snapped. "Because if something doesn't fit your damn protocol, you just remove it. Shoot it. Bury the problem." He stared me down. "I don't want to kill him, Mr. Harlan, but I will if I have to." I looked at the bear. He was lying under the porch now, breathing slow, ears twitching. But something in his body was different, tense. He knew. He always knew. The ranger raised the rifle. "Don't," I said, stepping in front. "Not yet. Give me one more day. You're not a wildlife expert." "No," I said, "but I'm the one he came to. That has to mean something." Silence. Then, finally, the ranger lowered the gun. "One day. But if he's still here tomorrow, we take him." They left. I sat on the steps, watching the trees. Boone laid beside me. For hours I didn't move. Neither did the bear. But by sunset he shifted. He crawled out from under the porch, slowly, painfully, sniffed the air, turned toward the woods. I stood. "You leaving? Now?" He paused, looked over his shoulder, and then he moved, limping, stepping further and further into the tree-line. Not running, just leaving, like he knew the time was up. Boone whimpered. I didn't say anything. I just watched him go. By full dark, he was gone. No sound, no trace. I didn't sleep. I sat outside all night, waiting, hoping. Morning came. Still nothing. Then, just as the sun crested the ridge, Boone barked once. I looked where he was staring, edge of the woods. Blood. A trail. Not much, but enough. And beside it, a strip of blue fabric. Torn. From the ranger's uniform. I stood up fast, heart hammering. Then I heard it. A single, ragged growl. Far off. And something else. A scream. Cut short. 2 hours after that scream, the news hit town. There's blood in the woods, Dale told the feed store crowd. And the ranger's missing. By noon, folks were stirred up like hornets. Fear does that. Makes people stupid. Dangerous. They organized a search party. Not for the ranger. For the bear. I heard it from the mail lady. She drove out just to warn me. They said they tracked it past the old logging trail, she whispered. Said they found paw prints and drag marks. Boone barked once, sharp. I grabbed my keys, my rifle, and didn't even lock the door. The trail was rough, half swallowed by weeds and deadfall, but I knew it by heart. That stretch of woods behind my property used to be active years ago. Logging trucks, work crews. Now it was just silence and stumps. And pain. The closer I got, the more wrong it felt. Boone stayed close. Too close. Then I saw it. A rusted trap, dug into the forest floor. Blood smeared around the edges. And him, the bear, caught. One massive paw twisted at a sick angle. He was on his side, chest heaving, eyes wild but exhausted. He saw me, didn't growl, didn't thrash, just stared. A shot rang out. I dropped flat. Another voice shouted, "You missed, you idiot! Wait for a clean shot." I crawled forward until I saw them. 2 men, one with a scoped rifle, the other with binoculars. Locals. Trigger-happy and scared shitless. I stood up, rifle at my side. "Drop it!" I yelled. "Now!" They jumped. Turned. "Ray, you outta your mind? That thing almost killed a ranger. You don't know that. You don't know shit." The one with the rifle stepped forward. "Move. We're ending this. He's in a damn trap. You shoot him like this, you're not men. You're cowards." They hesitated. Just for a second. Then the rifle guy raised his weapon again. "Last warning, Ray." I raised mine. Boone growled low, ready. "Don't," I said. "You fire, I fire." Silence. Tension so thick you could cut it with a damn spoon. Then a single shot echoed. The rifle jerked. The man staggered back, clutching his shoulder. From behind me, another figure stepped out of the trees. The ranger, bloody, limping, but alive, pistol in hand. "Back the hell off," he growled. The second man dropped his binoculars and raised both hands. I ran to the bear, looked at the trap. Rusted old thing, illegal to boot. "We need bolt cutters. Tow chain. Something," I muttered. The ranger holstered his pistol. "Got 'em in the truck." We worked in silence. The bear didn't fight, just watched, breathing shallow. 10 minutes later, the trap clicked open. He didn't run, just rolled onto his side and closed his eyes. Alive, but barely. The ranger looked at me. "You bought him a chance. Hope he uses it." I nodded. The others left. No one said a word. I stayed there, hand on Boone's head, staring at the bear. One choice, one moment, and a life not taken. He didn't die. I really thought he might. That night in the forest, after the trap was off, he just lay there, breathing shallow, barely holding on. But the next morning, he was gone. No blood trail, no drag marks, just gone. The ranger checked in twice after that. Brought a wildlife vet once, but there was nothing to check. He'd vanished into the trees like a ghost. A week passed, then another. The town stopped talking. Dale avoided my eyes at the co-op. People wanted it over, but it wasn't not for me. Something had shifted. Inside me, inside this place. The porch felt empty now. I still put scraps out. Not because I expected him to come back. Just habit, maybe hope. Then, exactly a month after the day we freed him, I stepped out for morning coffee. The ground was soaked from rain the night before. Boone ran ahead, stopped suddenly. I followed his gaze. Right there in the mud, next to the porch, one massive paw print. Just one. I didn't call out. Didn't run to check the woods. I just stood there, stared, felt my chest tighten in a way I hadn't felt in years. Not fear, not sadness, something else. I sat on the steps, mug in hand, and let the steam warm my face. Boone lay down beside me, head on his paws, eyes still on the trees. And I talked, not loudly, just enough for the air to carry it. Maybe I saved you, maybe not. Maybe you were already on your way out, and I just slowed the clock. I looked down at the print. But you saved me too, and I don't even know why. My voice caught. I hadn't cried in years. Not really, not since the crash. But right then I let it out. Quiet, rough, the kind that burns on the way up. You reminded me I'm still part of this place, of something living, something that feels. The wind moved through the trees, soft and low. I stood, walked back inside, left the door open, just in case. Later that day, I found the food untouched. The print already washed half away by new rain. I didn't mind. The next few weeks passed slow. Nothing strange, nothing wild. But every now and then, Boone would perk up at night, stare out the window like he was waiting. And sometimes, so would I. That's the thing no one gets. He wasn't just a bear. He was timing. He was choice. He was the question I didn't know I needed to answer. You think you know where your life is going, and then something wild shows up on your porch, broken and silent. And suddenly you're looking in a mirror you didn't know was there. Maybe he'll come back. Maybe not. Doesn't matter. Because whether he was bear or omen or just dumb luck, he reminded me that I'm still alive. And for the first time in years, that was enough.